Hey, good morning. Welcome to Sports Talk. I'm your host, Chris Raynor, here on Friday, May the 1st. First day of May. Man, where's the time gone? Sometimes we're just having... Christmas is always the high water, or one of the high water marks of the year, and that's kind of what the end of the year and everything. It's like the year just started. Here we are, our 250th birthday year of our country, and already is May 1st. Our guest, Ken Lovell. What do you think? 250 years has been a long time.
It's something. It always hits me when I think about something in the Bible where something was prophesied like 700 or 800 years before it happened, and we're only 250 years old. And think about how much has happened just in our country's history.
I've always had that question. Was time a little different then? Some of the things, like the way the calendars were, because you hear of people being 600 or 700 years old in the Bible, or 400 years old, and I just wonder if it was a different dynamic then. That's a question for somebody a lot smarter than me.
And me too. Yeah.
So we'll talk about that later. But 250 years, July 4th, we'll celebrate our 250th birthday. I honestly thought more stuff would be going on in the country leading up to it. And granted, we're 2 months away, but you hear some things, but I don't know. I just thought it'd be more celebrations and stuff. That's a big high watermark.
It is.
You're right much younger than me. You don't remember the bicentennial in '76. I do. I was 8, but I remember, it was a big thing in our country, 200th, anniversary, 200 birthday. So we'll get more on that as it comes close. We'll have to line us up a very patriotic guest like Michael Ruzioni again, or Betsy Ross or somebody like that,
Yeah.
We'll see what we can do. Well, did Ashley used to date Betsy Ross?
No.
Okay.
Come on now.
He's not here today, so I got to pick on him a little. He picks on me too about my ability to kill calories. Calories, not on me, but on in food and stuff. So, right. He calls me the calorie killer or calorie cruncher or something. We do want to thank our sponsors before we get rolling too much here. Today's Sports Talk is proudly brought to you by Golden Corral, Mr. Billy Sewell. You know Billy well.
I do.
Everybody knows Billy. Rock Creek Golf and Country Club, Pro Rick Morton. Superior Metal Structures and Concrete there in Beulahville. And we have a big show coming up from there, probably within the next month or so. We're going to have a remote on there and have some guests from the East Duplin area. And, you know that area pretty well, too.
I do.
Yeah, so we'll have a good time with that. Looking forward to it. National Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram, Harry Brown, Ryan, Robbie Yates, Chris Hines, and Quentin. Downey's Heating and Air Conditioning, of course, that's Jason Humphrey. CNS Paint, Ron Choate, Victor Case. PRQ Exteriors, Roofing Done right here at home, Mr. Austin Wright. Fountain Management, Lisa Thornton and Sandra Fountain. Southern Touch Painting, Roger Carroll. Good partners with Roger, too, on a lot of stuff.
Yes, sir.
A lot of these plaques we see up here from Southern Touch Painting, the Game Changers banquets and all the things that, man, it has some good times, hasn't it?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
All About Floors, Mr. Ron Prince. Liberty Tire Company. Onslow County Motor Company, Ben Beasley and his crew. Bartley Insurance Services, Bill and Drew Mercer. Humphrey Heating and Air Conditioning. Jones Onslow EMC, your Touchstone Energy Cooperative. Nope, take that back. Sorry, strike that. They moved it. They're a different thing now. That just pops in my mind every time I see that, and I can't stop it. Jones LP Gas in Verona. If you got a cylinder, you can get it refilled for $11 down there.
Okay.
Lane Associates Family Dentistry. And special thanks to Helen's Kitchen and Billy Grissett. Billy brought our cheeseburgers and BLTs for us today to have for lunch. Thank you to Helen's Kitchen and Billy Grissett for keeping the Sports Talk crew well fed. You can listen, watch, and connect. Visit WSME971.com to listen to the live Sports Talk stream. Connect to our YouTube and Facebook pages and catch full episodes and highlights. You can watch us on Facebook or YouTube. And if you're watching right now, scan the QR code at the top left of your screen and head straight to our website. It's right up there. You can't miss it. It's right there. So you can't miss it. Studio hotline, 910-346-2248. And, of course, WSME971.com. You know my man Hollywood over here.
I do.
He has done an outstanding job getting that website to where everything runs off of it. And you guys are no strangers. If you've got several different things going on, you can always go to the FCA page and run it from there.
That's right.
And that's what Hollywood's done for us with that. So thank you, Hollywood. You are the man. All right, let's jump right in. You guys got big doings tonight. Friday night, May 1st. And I'm gonna let you give the names. I don't give the name wrong.
Yeah, so it's the Coastal North Carolina FCA Outdoors Sportsman's Banquet.
Nice. So what you guys are going to be doing?
Yeah, so FCA moved about 9 years ago with a new vision to lead every coach and athlete into a growing relationship with Christ. And of course, back then, every to us just kind of meant every coach on the campus.
Right.
And what we did is moved into these what we call expanded sport environments. So as you know, there's tons of
outdoor
athletes.
Sports are huge.
Yeah, they're in the outdoors either competing as an outdoorsman or they do it recreationally. I know I grew up going to school in my Blaze Orange with the gun in the back window, and when school let out.
So you're not quite as young as you're not quite young enough.
No, I'm 50. So
but you remember that part.
I do. Yeah. And so what we realize is that there are a lot of athletes and coaches out there in the outdoor space that we want to be true to our mission to go get them where they are. And so Cole Singleton is our outdoors area representative, and tonight is all about not only casting the vision and sharing where we're headed into the outdoor space, but it's about an appeal to get people to actually get behind him so that we can hire him full time and he can get after this thing in ways far greater than he can, when you're already trying to work a normal job and you got 2 young ones at home and a young wife and all the things that go with that season of life. So tonight's going to be fun.
Nice. Now, being an outdoor sportsman's banquet, are you having like wild venison for the meal or dove breast or things like that?
Not this year. We were gonna do a wild game dinner, but this year Billy's gonna take care of us and he's gonna bring the meal for tonight. But Jimmy Sites,
Billy's got a variety at Golden Corral. He's got a lot of stuff there that would fit the bill. So
he does not disappoint when he caters, so we're thankful for that. And Jimmy Sites is our guest speaker, so he is a true outdoorsman evangelist, really brilliant speaker, ton of really cool experiences that he's been through as an outdoorsman. You can look him up online and on YouTube and see all the crazy stuff he does.
Give that name again.
Jimmy Sites.
Jimmy Sykes. Sykes.
That's a good question. I think you're right.
I think that's it. Sykes. Sykes. Look that up and probably some good entertaining stuff to check out.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So what's the deal? When does everything start tonight?
Yeah, so we'll let VIPs in at 5 like we normally do, and they'll have an hour to interact with Jimmy, get their photos with him, get a VIP dinner, autograph book, all that stuff we normally do at our banquets, and then we'll start transitioning everybody over into the main sanctuary and kick off the program around 6:30 and wrap it up around 8. Yeah, and I tell you, Cole and his board have done an incredible job pulling in all kind of really cool stuff to give away, to raffle off. I mean, some really, really cool stuff. So if you're an outdoorsman,
that's always a huge part of those banquets.
Yeah, well, this is the best we've ever done. And like I said, Cole and his board have just crushed it with, we have guns that we'll be raffling off, fishing gear, fishing charters, a bear hunt, on and on the list goes. Like, there's some really cool stuff that if you're an outdoorsman,
nice.
You want to come, at least if nothing else, try to get your hands on some of this stuff.
Now, where will the location be tonight? Folks want to know.
Yeah, great question. Triune Holiness Church out in Maysville.
In Maysville?
In Maysville, yep. So we're
where's that located in Maysville? Is it downtown Maysville, uptown Maysville?
I think it's 58 is the road that kind of exits.
Right there off to the right, going towards the beach.
Yep. So you leave downtown Maysville, turn right, head out that road, and Triune is just down there on the left. So they've been gracious enough to host for us, and we felt like it was a good outdoor sort of central location to draw everybody in from the area that loves the outdoors.
Now, tickets are still available.
Tickets are still available.
Last minute is today, but all it takes is you're going to give us some information on how they can do that, and they'll just go to it today, hit the tickets, and they can go to the event tonight. Where would be the best place to locate tickets at? Yeah,
if you go to coastalncfca.org, then we have under the Huddles tab, we have the outdoors section there, and they can scroll down and see everything about the banquet. They can download the flyer.
I like the logo with the mountains and everything on it.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So it's all new, right? I mean, this is so exciting for us. We had a guy, Jason, in the community. He was talking about his pastor was, advocating that he start a small group, and I think everybody that goes to church is hearing this call from the pulpit to do this, to really get in circles, right, and disciple one another. And he just couldn't figure out, like, what day of the week am I going to do this? Where am I going to do this? And how am I going to find the time for this? And everyone wrestles with that, myself included. And so what FCA Outdoors, where it's so special, is this guy's a huge outdoorsman. I said, well, look, what does it look like for us to come alongside of you, resource you to get around the tailgate with the boys, get into the Word together, do an outdoor themed devotional that draws you closer to Christ, and then go hunt down whatever animal you're chasing that day.
Yeah.
And he's like, man, I feel like this is exactly what I was looking for. And that's what we do in FCA, as you know, in a typical sense with football and basketball and baseball and sports like that. We go to them where they are, and this is no different.
Well, now, you talked about getting around the tailgate and sorting it out. There's been a lot of problems solved out in the country on the back of a pickup truck.
I bet.
Everybody leaning up against the side of the truck all the way around. You can go somewhere like a neighborhood gathering place or something, not even intend to do that. But next thing you know, more people have come, and next thing you know, you've been there 2 hours solving the world's problems around the tailgate of a pickup truck.
There's something we say a lot in the outdoor space, like experiencing the creator in his creation. There's just something special about being out away from the distractions. Maybe where Wi-Fi doesn't reach.
The song says it all. There's something women love about a pickup man.
Is that right?
Yeah. It's a country song, yeah. So, talking about the other things, we're going to talk some more about the other things y'all got going on, but let's talk a little bit more about this thing tonight. What can people expect talking to him and some of his experience stuff? Is he kind of like a toned down Ted Nugent, like shooting and do it a little bit of everything?
He does a little bit of everything. Yeah, I don't know him personally that well. Cole does, and we've watched a couple of his videos, and he's actually done a video. If you go to our Facebook page, Coastal NCFCA, the Sportsman's Banquet has its own event page, and you can go down through the discussions. You'll see a lot of what Cole and his team have brought together for raffles, but you'll hear from Jimmy directly, as he was kind enough to do a video for us. And within that video, you get a little highlight reel of a lot of the things he's involved in and has done. It's worth watching.
He can shoot a bow, can he?
He can shoot, period. Yeah, he is a gun. He is an outdoorsman, legit. Yeah.
And that's coastalncfca.org.
.org. That's right.
I remember things like that. So it's funny you were talking about some of the things, the niches that people don't think about for you guys to bring Christ to these athletes. It doesn't necessarily have to be within the walls of the school.
Right.
And even if it is in the walls of the school, it's not something that people normally think about. Like, say, East Duplin has a shooting team. A lot of people don't picture that because, you always had this stigma, especially in the past few years, with guns in schools, and they don't, have the guns at schools like we used to, the,
right.
the rifle or the shotgun in the rack in your truck. But East Duplin has a very accomplished shooting team.
They do, and the funny thing is about 4 or 5 years ago, their shooting team coach saw what was happening on the campus with what the Lord was doing. And he's like, hey, can we do that over here?
Yeah.
So long before FCA Outdoors was this legitimate lane of our ministry, we started a huddle for those athletes, those shooters over there. And we've had it running for 3 or 4 years now, whatever it's been. And so now we actually have an area rep that's legitimately assigned to those very specific athletes that are doing it competitively within the school system. But, we all know as well, like a ton of those baseball players in this season of sport, they wear their camouflage and they get out and hunt, on the weekends and whatnot. And so what a neat opportunity to not just minister to them on the baseball field, but then out, like Cole says, whether they're at the hunt camp or the boat ramp and everywhere in between, we're going to go find them where they are there too. And it's just another way for them to continue to walk with the Lord.
You're basically doing what they do when they're out there hunting ducks. You're camouflaging and sneaking up on them in their own environment.
Yeah, well, and
that's where they're comfortable at.
That's right. It's meeting them where they are in an environment they're familiar with to introduce things maybe they're not.
You're duck blinding them.
Yeah,
that's good though. You're getting them in stuff that they like, and they're tying it into to the good things you guys are doing through Christ. You know?
Well, and tonight it's Come As You Are, and everybody will be in camouflage and blaze orange and all sorts of stuff. Yeah, so it'll be a lot of fun to walk in the room and see how that thing's all dressed up.
And I have a deep love of the color orange, so
Yeah. I wonder where you get that from.
I can't imagine. But a good friend of mine, Brian Bailey from East Duplin, his son Luke Bailey played on football on the state championship team.
Yep.
Well, Brian was telling me, I had no idea that schools had shooting teams like that. And Brian was telling me how Luke was on the shooting team, and they travel all over and have competitions and stuff. So it's just a neat thing that a lot of people, like you said, it's under the radar that people don't know about.
You know what he's doing now in college?
Luke? Oh, yeah.
All that logging stuff, that competitive logging stuff. I was like, Brian was telling me about
Brian, I said, does he do the thing where he's chopping that thing between his feet? Because, man, that axe is that wide. I'm asking if he does the log rolling and all that. And apparently he's doing all that
They do all that stuff. It was amazing to hear that. And that is an area
State, and he's at the right place for what he wants to do there.
That's an area of sport we're not in yet.
The logging.
If that's exactly what you call it, is logging or whatever it's called.
I'm not sure what it is. Yeah, I guess lumberjack competition.
That's what it is, lumberjack.
Good.
If
they had to give it a name, but everybody knows what we're talking about. And you've seen the competition. How do those guys spin on that log in the water and not? I can't. It's all I can do is stand up in a canoe.
I'm a little surprised it's not an Olympic sport yet.
They got to, I guess, figure it'd have to be a summer sport. The winter sports would be tough on frozen pond out there. Now, once again, back to the event tonight. What are some other little you talked about the silent auctions, the things like that. You have the raffles. Is it any silent auctions or just all raffles?
That's a good question. They're kind of hashing out those last minute details.
But it's usually some of both,
It is, yeah. Some of the bigger stuff we've been kicking it around. So there's some interesting North Carolina laws we've learned this year about the value of the gift that you're trying to raffle off. incorporates a whole mess.
Oh, I didn't know.
We're
really
involved
in taxes and stuff.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot of tax stuff, and so we're like, maybe we don't do that then. Yeah, we really kind of found out last minute. So Cole and his guys are working through that.
Sam to try and get his money on, or taxes from money meant for Jesus.
Yeah,
It's just not.
Yeah,
I understand what you're saying, but it's like this is off tangent a little bit. But you see, like some of these prizes they went on Price is Right and stuff. Who knows how much taxes they pay on that stuff? Mm-hmm. And it's in California too, so that's probably a whole different ballgame. But that's little things like you don't think about. How did you come across that you knew, that there was something you had to do with it?
Well, I really got to just thank the Lord that He led us to it so that we didn't make a mistake.
Right.
That could have cost us.
Something that cost people money. And stuff,
and more importantly, like it doesn't come back on the donor in some kind of way or the person who won. Like, oh, what is this? I didn't know. And so I'm thankful that we stumbled into it, but it was a little frustrating to. Thought we had this really cool, super high dollar item that was being given to us by an organization in the community that we were just going to raffle off to really bless somebody this time of year.
And I never would have thought of that.
Yeah. And so as we were just sort of threading that into our registration, that's where our Sports Center folks were like, hey, North Carolina has this law. Yeah. One thing led to another. And we're like, all right, well, we're going to pull that out for this year and rethink of a way to try to make that happen next time.
Well, there's so many crazy little things you don't think about like that. And these sportsmen will tell you more than anybody fishing. Go red drum fishing. You can catch this big, you have to throw back. This big, you're good. This big, you have to throw back. Like there's that little range in there. It's so crazy because just your average fisherman going down there, say surf fishing, you might not have any clue that you caught an illegal fish. It's going to cost you $5,000.
Yeah.
Or floundering. Don't get me started on flounder. You know how that is right now. It's amazing how flounder know where the state line is in Virginia, and they're plentiful up there, but down here we're struggling with them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You get my sarcasm there? We're going to take our first break. When we come back, we'll talk more with Ken Lovell from the Fellowship of Christian Athletes right here on Sports Talk. Welcome back to Sports Sports Talk. I'm your host, Chris Raynor. Friday, May the 1st. Year is just clipping right along. Won't be long until we're in the middle of hot summer. Much needed rain this week we've had. Looks forward to tomorrow, Saturday. A lot of rain. That's going to hurt some Kentucky Derby parties a little bit, but I'm sure people will be fine with that because, we need that rain. And that leads us right into our racing segment. Racing segment is sponsored by Onslow County Motor Company, Ben Beasley and his crew. And I do want to mention something. I was down there the other day, and Ben Beasley has a new vehicle they just got in, a Cadillac Escalade SUV.
Wow.
And you talk about primo, buddy. That is a nice car. He sent it to me. Let's see. It's a 2014 Cadillac Escalade Premier, and he wanted me to mention that on the show because it just came in. It won't be there long. It's that pearl white. It's just a sweet ride. Everything inside looks like brand new.
Wow.
So if you need a new ride, go see Ben and get that Cadillac.
That doesn't fit my lifestyle, but I appreciate the offer.
Cadillac? Cadillac's good for every lifestyle. So, that's he's got some good cars on there. If you ever need a good used vehicle, check Ben out.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the NASCAR boys were this past week. We're in Talladega, Alabama. Carson Hocevar won the race. That doesn't sound like an Alabama name.
No, the names are changing.
He's not part of the Alabama gang down there, the old Allison family and stuff down there. Cale Yarborough, that crowd.
Uh-huh.
Carson Hocevar. It's hard to even say it. Chris Buescher was second. Alex Bowman third. Chase Elliott, that's a NASCAR name, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Bill Elliott's son was fourth, and Zane Smith fifth. And they're coming in this week to the Texas Motor Speedway, which is very similar to the track they were at last week. The Kansas Motor Speedway, they're very similar tracks. They call them kind of cookie cutter tracks. I don't know if you've heard that term before. There was years ago, all the tracks were kind of made kind of in the same shape as Charlotte, but just not as much banking on it. So good racing coming up this weekend. Joey Logano is the defending champion there, defending race winner there at Texas. And that'll be this coming Sunday, day after tomorrow, May the 3rd. So the racing series is really kicking up now. Of course, the standings are pretty much, the same as they were. Tyler Reddick has won 5 races out of the first 9. That's tough.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's hard not to be the series leader when you're leading when you do that. Either 9 of the first 10 races. So Michael Jordan Racing is really. I don't even know if Michael's going to come fishing this year down at the Big Rock because he may be too into racing right now. He's been at just about every race you've seen, the highlights of and stuff. There he is. So. The NASCAR boys are really kicking it. I think they're starting out at the Coastal Plains Raceway this week, and the local tracks like Carteret Speedway, will be kicking up. So make sure you check out your local tracks. A lot of good racing going on. And thanks again to Onslow County Motor Company, Ben Beasley and his crew for sponsoring the Racing Report. You guys ever thought about getting into something like that? Is there a niche of that, like the racetracks and stuff?
Yeah, we have FCA Motorsports is a thing in our ministry.
Okay.
We just don't have it locally yet, but
because there are some local tracks, the one like you said, the one at Carteret and the one up here on 258.
So not only the race cars, but also motocross is also within that realm.
That's a lot bigger than people think.
It is sneaky big.
A girl that works with us out at Bear Trail that you're looking at her, you would never know she's a motocross racer.
Yeah.
But she loves it. Her and her family's been into it for years. Her dad did it. Her brother does it. So motocross has got a good following out here. Yeah,
well, Richland's one of their assistant ADs out there. His daughter's been huge into it as long as I've known him. So she was just a little thing riding, and now she's she got pretty seriously hurt not too long ago, and seems to be making a full recovery. But
that may be the same person we're talking about.
Might be. I mean, she hits these jumps, boy, and it's just crazy.
She's not big as a minute, but she knows how to ride that bike.
Yes, she does.
Now, another one that I heard this past week that I never would have thought in this area. Did you know that the schools have rodeo teams?
What?
The high schools, apparently. They had a big rodeo out at the
Lazy
I think Lazy H is what it's called. Right there on Gum Ranch Road. And I knew that they had stuff out there, and I'd seen the signs for rodeo, but I didn't know it was high school kids.
See, equestrian is actually sort of tied into the outdoor stuff as well as another lane.
So that may be something we need to investigate. That might be another little niche.
When FCA says lead every coach and athlete, this is what just makes the aperture opens up so wide that it's a little intimidating sometimes when you figure out just how much is out there.
Well, I'll find out more about it because I know some people that went and they said yes, some kids from the high schools competing.
Interesting.
I had no idea that they even had that.
I had not heard of that yet.
Never had heard of it. So what else you guys got going on in FCA land right now?
Yeah,
anything coming up? Golf tournament? I mean, you just had your big golf tournament. Give us kind of the rundown on the big FCA golf tournament you had on I think it's the Friday before Good Friday, wasn't it?
Yeah, this year we did. Yep. So Good Friday itself has actually become opened up for a thing we do. It's a global fitness challenge called Golgotha, and it's walking with Christ from the Last Supper to his last breath at the cross. And so it's every hour on the hour you do a workout and a devotional that ties you in physically and spiritually to an element of the story. But with that opportunity came the need to then move the golf tournament to a different Friday. And we went the Friday before, and still perfectly sold out. So we're super thankful that people were able to make it and fill it out. And we're always really committed to two things that we learned from golfers over the years is one, don't pack it out with 36 teams that it becomes so slow that the pace of play is just no fun to be a part of. So we keep it
in a 5-hour round.
It is, yep. So we keep it at 27 teams, and that way you have a shotgun start with a team on every hole, and then every other hole there's a team that is just waiting for you to get to the green so we can tee off and be in the fairway.
Usually the par fives are good ones just to have two teams.
Yeah, it's a really great start that way. And this year,
it's out of Bear Trail, right?
It was at Bear Trail again, yep. And so Bear Trail, if most people don't know, is so packed with members that they don't even need to do tournaments to like add revenue or like when they have tournaments, their members can't play. Yeah. And so they only allow a handful of tournaments with these sort of legacy partners like ourselves that have been doing it there for 15, 20 years. There's only a few organizations like that they went ahead and said, we will continue to honor your tournament, but they don't take on any new ones just because of how busy they are. And there was rumors about even, maybe trying to go private. So we're grateful to still be out there because the cost is good for us. It's a great course. And so this year with 27 teams, we had our best financial year we've ever had out there.
That's awesome.
And it was just so cool to see the generosity of people. And we keep the gimmicks down. This year, what was really neat is we had all of our staff on different holes to really kind of introduce their lane of ministry in kind of a unique way. So Tulsa, for example, is our combat sports area rep. So he is a Brazilian jiu-jitsu athlete and coach. He and his wife
that
both.
You got to fight with somebody right when you first
No, but they did so one of the things to strengthen their grip. So with gis and stuff, you have the top on that you can actually grab and manipulate, right? So not every form of martial art and jiu-jitsu does that. Some do it with and some do without. Well, what they do to train grip strength for that is they have this piece of fabric that ties into a kettlebell, and then you have to hold it with your hands for as long as you can. So we gave the golfers a chance to test their grip strength. If they could hold it for 30 seconds, they would get a mulligan on the hole.
Did anybody do it?
Oh, yeah. Several people did. And so you were able to kind of pick your weight. Some of the younger, stronger guys obviously went for the biggest one, and but Tulsa had a great time, not only doing that, but then praying for the teams as they went through. So Kathy with our All Abilities Ministry, that's special needs kids, right?
Yeah.
So our mantra there is we want to tear the roof off and make sure that these families and these kids have access to Christ just like anybody else would. And so we're moving in the direction of having, sort of like almost Onslow County Special Olympics style thing where, it's an opportunity for these kids to actually come and participate in sports. So Kathy's out there and she puts the glasses on. You might remember this where sometimes the sheriff's department will do something like this where you have to drive
with the beer goggles.
Yeah, same kind of thing to where, if you're a kid who is visually impaired, well, the buddy program and all FCA abilities is to help guide that kid to do certain things where they maybe can't physically or cognitively or visually do it themselves. So we allow the golfers to experience that and actually take a shot with those glasses on, being guided by one of their teammates. So a lot of really neat opportunities to get some exposure to what we do. Our outdoors guys with Cole and his board member had people shooting a bow and arrow, and if they hit the target, they got a mulligan, or they got to move up.
They're shooting a bow and arrow out at the golf course?
Shoot a bow and arrow, yep. Nice. So I always have to rib Maurice out there at River Life Church because he was the guy that shot the arrow out into the woods and we never got it back. So I chased him down. I'm like, really, man, you lost it? He's like, well, I don't know what to tell you.
Okay, I've got a thing for you for your next tournament for next year.
Okay.
The guy with the gun. Have you ever heard of that?
I have.
Man, that thing will sling a golf ball.
Yeah.
It's chambered for a golf ball. And you only use the golf ball once. You need to tell people not to use their finest golf ball.
Right.
Use an old one because it will put a hole in it. But it'll send that thing.
How far?
Well, the only one I ever did it on was at Jacksonville Country Club, and it's the hole up there by the pool. I think it's number 10. You tee off by the pool and you come out to the road, which is over 300 yards, and it was putting it right there at the front of the green. So it'll sling it. I'd love to have one of those, actually.
Yeah.
That'd be nice. I got plenty of golf balls I could shoot out through the woods,
Well, we had Scotty Pierman back on 10 as the long drive champion. Yep. So perfect weather with a tailwind this year, he was putting it out there,
ripping them,
and that's always fun. Well, his daughter is actually interested in being a part of that ministry now, so we're in the early talks about having him back next year with his daughter. So she'll be on a par 3. So it'll be one of those things where you get to use his drive, and with her, you might either
or
if you
pop it up there for you.
It might not be use her tee shot on a par 3. It might be if you can get inside of her, there's a reward.
Yeah.
You know, we'll work out the details, but
that's cool.
That'll be neat to have her out and let the golfers kind of go toe to toe with the young lady. Yeah, just have a little fun.
And I'm thinking about trying to get one of those guns because I think your banquet used to be called the Game Changers Banquet.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a game changer for me.
Oh, yeah.
If I could pop that ball down there 300 yards every time, of course it's going to hurt the aerodynamics of it for the next shot.
Right.
But hey.
We talked about that for outdoors if we'd bring a gun out, you know, that gun to launch the golf ball. And so we may do that next year.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm sure you can find it online somewhere, somebody that does it or has capability, but that thing's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Now the other big shout out to Brian Smith. He's the new manager out at Bear Trail.
Yep.
For working you guys in on the tournament.
So I have an in with him. You know.
Yeah.
I married his daughter. Well, I didn't marry. This is the joke we had this year. Well, I didn't marry his daughter. I married off his daughter.
Yeah. Shelby and Cameron, of course. Yeah. So there's all kinds of family connections there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about. Yeah.
It was a good laugh because we looked at each other and I'm like, where do I know you from? And then it just dawned on us. Yeah. So
I don't think so.
He told one of the ladies out there on the board. He's like, yeah, you married my daughter. And I was like, well, I didn't marry your daughter. I married her off, and it was a fun conversation. I got her hitched. Yeah. Tim Foster's son.
Right. That's what I'm saying. There's all kinds of family dynamics.
But it was a funny day because it was typical. I mean, I think if I remember right, they got married in June right here in Eastern North Carolina, and it was 115 degrees
down
that day.
Pender County, yeah.
So I'm in a suit, and handling the ceremony, and I got in and out pretty smooth and quick for him, and I got more offers to do more weddings out of that because of how quick I was. Because some ministers will preach a 30-minute sermon up there. Yeah. So I was like, I got sweat just running down the inside of my suit. We're gonna get you all out of here.
I remember I was there.
Were you there? Yeah. Okay.
We were there. So we're going to take our second break. When we come back, we'll talk more with Ken Lovell from Fellowship of Christian Athletes. Hey, welcome back to Sports Talk. I'm your host, Chris Raynor. Our guest today, Ken Lovell from the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. Welcome, of course, Ken.
Thank you.
Glad to have you with us again. Yeah. You've been here so many times now, you've got co-host status whenever you want it.
Oh, I love that.
So if I ever need somebody to fill in, I can't be here, you're one of those co-hosts that will come and fill in for that.
Let's do it.
We're going into our Hurricane Watch, sponsored by Downey's Heating and Air Conditioning, Jason Humphrey and his crew. We're getting a little respite from the heat this week. You like that word, respite? Little respite this week. So it's a little cooler. Not a big word, but it's like a 50-cent word. It's one of those SAT words. A lot of people don't know what respite is. They think it's like that green drink you drink. That's,
a bird.
Like Sprite or something. Yeah.
I got you.
Respite's kind of like reprieve, right? It's in that same.
Yeah, right over there, yeah.
Chris has an astute
Right. I'm very astute. Yes.
Word of the day: toilet paper going on over here. Maybe
I'm not as dumb as I look. Let's put it that way. And granted, that leaves a lot of leeway still, but
he has a large vocabulary, actually. Great vocabulary.
A lot of large stuff. Yeah. So the Hurricanes, though, headed into the playoffs this past week. When we gave our last report, they had they were up 3-0 in their series with the Ottawa Senators. They closed that out Saturday, a 4-2 win there in Ottawa. Ottawa decided to play bully ball, or bully puck, I guess what you call it, and they figured they were down 3-0, let's fight. And they were roughing it. It was just one of those things where you got to be smart and not let your players get hurt. You've seen games before, even in high school football and stuff, where a team gets chippy at the end if they're losing, and if you're not careful, you're the one that gets penalized because you're out the next week because you jumped in a fight with it. You can't let yourself succumb to temptation.
I tell kids all the time, like, rare is it the official will see what your opponent did to you, but they'll always catch how you respond to it.
And if they catch both of you, he's done for the year, and you're out next week when your team needs you. Much as your line of work deals with temptations, so you got to be smart there. But the Canes closed out the series 4-0. The only team, Colorado ended up sweeping their team too, but in the East, the Canes are the only team to sweep. So they're sitting on hold for 3 or 4 days waiting for their next opponent, who will actually be, it was night before last, Wednesday night. The Philadelphia Flyers closed out their series with the Pittsburgh Penguins. So that's the Battle of Pennsylvania. You can imagine how hot that probably was. 2 teams in the same state, battling in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So they closed them out. Hurricanes still on hold, though, because the other side of the bracket, both games are still playing. So just waiting to see who the Hurricanes, of course, have the Flyers in the next round, but you can't start it until you see if the other ones are over because they can't be off kilter so much. So I'm thinking probably Monday or Tuesday, the Hurricanes will probably have their first playoff game. That should be announced over the weekend. So good luck to the Carolina Hurricanes. They're doing great. Are you a big hockey fan?
Not much.
You ever been before?
Yeah, I was growing up with the Red Wings growing up in Michigan.
Oh, yeah. Red Wings are great following up there.
Yeah.
Won some championships, over the years.
Oh, it was, in the 90s, it was Red Wings, Blackhawks were kind of your 2 dominant teams. It was going to be one of the 2 that ran the table, it seemed
and I love Chicago Blackhawks uniforms.
Yeah.
The old, Redskins, like the Redskins helmets where, they have the old, the Black Hawk Chief on there. It's cool uniforms. But the Hurricanes will head off in the second round as soon as they announce the pairings. We're thinking Monday or Tuesday, so tickets will go on sale. They're actually on sale if your schedule's flexible and you can go. You can go and buy the tickets, and they're going to host the game. You just don't know exactly when. So that'll be coming up this coming week. Good luck to the Hurricanes in the playoffs. The only team in North Carolina ever to win a world title. So Panthers haven't won. They've been twice to the Super Bowl, didn't win. Hornets still haven't gotten past the second round. We were hoping this was the year because they were showing some signs of progress a little, but they didn't get out of the play-in round. So
I wonder if Colby will kind of make a difference for him.
He did, and he made a difference towards the end of the year. It's just almost like it was too late.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And once he settles in, give him a full off season.
I mean, and
wonder if it'll make a difference
doing that. And I think next year, though, I agree with you. He's going to gel a little more.
Yeah.
But he had a big game in the first play-in game. I think he was the leading scorer. And, coming in like he did, late in the season. So I think that'll help. I know he loves probably being back in this neck of the woods.
Being home is probably a motivator, no doubt.
Yeah, because he's not far off. So thank you once again to Downey's Heating and Air Conditioning, Jason Humphrey and his crew for sponsoring the Hurricane Watch. We're going to take our last break. When we come back, we'll have This Week in Sports, or This Day in Sports, and then more from the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. Hey, welcome back to Sports Talk. I'm your host, Chris Raynor. Co-host Ken Lovell today, talking about the Fellowship of Christian Athletes and their banquet coming up. We're going to mention all those details again. It's coming up tonight, but there's still tickets available. After we do this this day in sports and a couple other things, we're going to get back into that to make sure we leave you with all that information to make sure you can get in on that event tonight. I do want to talk, before we do this day in sports history, Kentucky Derby weekend. Doesn't seem like it, does it? Is it always? I guess it's always the first Saturday in March or May, because that's what it is here, and it's time to go. It'll be the 152nd Kentucky Derby. It's tomorrow, May 2nd at 2026 at Churchill Downs in Louisville, Kentucky. Post time is 6:57 p.m. It's odd how they just don't make it 7, but I guess they wanted to end around 7 because it doesn't last that long. So 6:57. They have all those preliminary races ahead of time. The purse is over $2 million. The favorites are Renegade at 5-1. Old stick song. Let's see, and Further Ado. That's one of my favorite expressions. People say when somebody says "without further ado," all you're doing is adding more ado. You know, so without further ado, he's a 5-1 odds favorite also. And the schedule also they'll have. Let's see, today they open at 11. First race at 12:30. Saturday gates open at 9 a.m. First race at 11. The main event is at 6:57. Of course. You can watch it on NBC, stream it on Peacock or NBC Sports app, and, of course, betting streams live via Twin Spires. And the history of the Run for the Roses, it was first held in 1875. Long time. That's a long time to be racing horses. And held annually, of course, at Churchill Downs. This weekend is the 152nd Run for the Roses, so everybody tune in. I know they have a huge thing in Swansboro. You've probably seen on Facebook the people down there that get dressed up in the floral outfits and the big hats and stuff, and it's just like they're at Churchill Downs, but they're somewhere, down on the waterfront in Swansboro having a little get together and stuff. So for a lot of people, it's a big deal. You ever been to horse racing?
No.
I don't know if I've ever been to any horse race, much less Kentucky Derby. It'd be a cool thing to go to one time.
It ain't bad to see that.
The whole atmosphere and the spectacle of it. It's one of those spectacle sports like the Indy 500, that type of thing. Yeah.
Well, it is a sport that's pretty neat to take in. Just what the jockeys are able to do with those animals that are just monsters.
Big horses, little jockeys.
Yeah.
Like, they would not let me be a jockey.
No, me neither.
They'd throw me on the back of a horse and he'd be like, what in the world has got on me? You want me to run this race with this buffalo butt on the back here? All right, we're going to jump, without further ado, which is the favorite, we're going to jump into this day in sports history, May 1st. All this stuff happened at one time or another on May 1st. This segment is sponsored by the Redneck Barbecue Lab. If you've never tried it, try it sometime. Okay. It's on the way up towards Raleigh, exit 319. They have one in North Hills in Raleigh, one in Lenovo Center, and then a new location that is just getting ready to open probably within the next couple of weeks. So I think it's remote time, Hollywood. I'll see if we can talk them into a remote.
Let's do it.
Some barbecue.
Yeah.
That'll be in Hope Mills, North Carolina. Jerry Stevenson, thank you to Jerry for all he's done for us here at the station. So we're going to jump right in. Let's see. 1901. The American League officially begins play as a major league, marking the start of the modern era of Major League Baseball. So I guess shortly after that, the American and the National League kind of jumped together and become the two different leagues and formed the major leagues.
And on May 1st, 1920, Babe Ruth hits his first home run as a member of the New York Yankees, launching what would become one of the most legendary careers in sports history.
I would say he'd probably be considered a successful career.
Not bad.
Now, he had some issues in life probably that were not considered what we would call successful, but
so you're saying if social media existed back then, he might be looked at a little different.
Hey.
He'd be eating Twitter up, buddy.
This might have been a viral day.
Yeah.
This is pretty wild, right? On the same day, 1951, Mickey Mantle hits his first career home run, beginning a Hall of Fame journey in pinstripes.
So there's two Hall of Fame journeys there that began on this day.
Yeah.
Two home runs on the same date. That's wild, isn't it?
That is crazy.
And to be May 1st. There's just something about almost like that's in the tarot cards or something here. I thought you were going to add something. I'm sorry.
No, I didn't.
Okay, my bad.
I was listening to you.
All right, 1967, the year before I was born. Elvis Presley marries Priscilla Presley in Las Vegas. And while it's not a game, the King's connection to sports and pop culture makes it a big crossover. Elvis was everywhere. Back in the
especially
60s and 70s. Oh, yeah. Of course, passed in, I think, 77. But Elvis was, the king of rock and roll. There's no other. I guess they call Michael Jackson the king of pop, but Elvis was the king of rock and roll. You big Elvis fan?
Yeah, not too bad. My aunt and mom and grandma loved him. And
I noticed you say aunt, mom, and grandma because the ladies loved Elvis.
Yeah, the music was always playing, and so as a young kid, you find yourself lip syncing or entertaining the family in the living room.
Yeah, there's some of those songs that are, Burning Love's still one of my favorite songs. You talk about the ladies liking Elvis. We saw an Elvis impersonator down at Dixon High School probably 15 years ago, maybe even 20, but more than like 20 years ago. And this guy had the moves, the costumes, sounded dead on like him singing.
But didn't look anything like him. Yeah, I've heard
His
that.
name's Adam Fisher. But these women went nuts.
You had to close your eyes. He had
75% of the gig going on, and it still drove women nuts.
Look, years ago, I'm talking about 25 years ago, I was working at a radio station in Bristol, Tennessee. And this lady, she was a sales lady, sales manager, I guess. And she brought in, she loved Elvis, and she should be much older now, probably in her early 50s then, but she said, she had been to an Elvis concert. She was in the front row when she was a teenager, and he had come down and he had,
the scarf thing,
a scarf. Wow. And she brought it in, man, and you can see the sweat stains on it. She says, "You want to hold it?" I said, "No, thanks, but it's cool to look at, man."
Nowadays, she'd be like, "I possess the DNA of Elvis Presley."
Right.
All right. Well, 1975, the year I was born, Chris.
Don't show off your youth.
No.
Youth.
You show off.
It's another May 1st miracle, right?
That is a miracle.
The Denver Nuggets played their final game in the ABA before eventually joining the NBA, part of the historic ABA-NBA merger era.
All right. You were still pooping in your diapers in this year, so.
Well, on May 1st, I was just getting worked on.
But shortly after that time period,
I was being developed.
So you don't remember the ABA-NBA thing. It was a lot like the USFL years later where they pulled a lot of the great talent that would have gone to the NFL and signed same thing with the ABA. Dr. J started in the ABA. A lot of David Thompson from State did. So it was just a different dynamic then.
Well, listen, I was born in 1974. Just a little bit older than you.
You guys.
I love the comedy act that some people do when they say, my name is Ken and I'm from the 1900s.
Yeah.
Sounds ancient.
Yeah.
Well, I will. You open that door, so I'm going to say here, I do the music at Southwest High School for football games.
Yep.
Well, I had some little Pop-Tart pop up there one day and say, "Mister, don't you play anything from this century?" And I went, "Yes." And I got the thing. I went, "Well, actually, probably not." I said, "Find me something that I'll play." And as she's scrolling through, I said, "Nope, there's the E." She kept scrolling through. I said, "Nope."
Yep.
And I said, "You find me something clean and come back up."
I was calling the games at Jacksonville for about 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I did all like Christian rap and Christian rock and things like that for pregame. But I went through the same thing.
Yeah.
People coming up and saying, "Will you play this? Will you play that?" And I'm like, "I won't."
No.
And if that's what you all want to play, then you need to find somebody else around the booth.
And a lot of songs, even though they blot it out, you know exactly what they're saying.
Oh yeah,
just because of the texture of the song.
But see,
crap.
When I was in Pop or Top 40 radio, we had, and today I don't know how you get away with it because you can still know what it said, but way back in the day they had the radio edit, as they call it, you know what I mean, and they would change the words.
Yep.
I mean,
you're right.
It just wouldn't be like. Yeah. It would be like silent. Like today, it's just like silent.
Yeah.
Or they would reverse the word, or whatever it was, But back in the day, they would actually change the lyrics to make it work.
There was a couple songs like the Eagles song, which has the worst one in it that I just don't like. There's some DJs will sit there and just wait for it, and they do a little, and that's all it is.
Yeah.
So you can't hear what
reverse it or whatever.
Yeah, the bad word is. Yeah.
Anyway, my turn.
We digress. And back to the Elvis tie-in. Who would have believed that back then what Elvis did dancing on the stage would be considered? Nowadays he would be like so tame that he could almost.
And we're digressing again. But the Ed Sullivan, you seen that clip?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, where like they would only film him from the waist up.
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. Nowadays, that wouldn't even faze anybody nowadays.
You heathens.
Yeah, exactly.
They're paying preachers back then. Heathens. All right, 1991, high school for us, buddy, or almost. Ricky Henderson steals his 939th base, breaking Lou Brock's all-time MLB stolen base record, speed redefined in baseball.
Oh, I love Lou Brock's music too. You'll never find. No, wait a minute, that's Lou Rawls. Sorry, different.
Let's keep going, man.
I'm sorry, I'm digressing again. All right, 2004, Barry Bonds hits his 661st home run, asterisk, passing Willie Mays for third place on the all-time home run list. What's your thoughts? You're a baseball guy, aren't you?
Not huge.
Not huge.
And I don't remember all the details.
Steroid issues.
Yeah.
You think there's asterisks beside all those records? Because obviously you had Hank Aaron, with a bat and dirt in his hands.
Yeah, yeah.
That's how he hit his home runs.
Yeah, I think that's the thing is people are trying to. They
so
want it to
hard
be.
to
They
do
want
it,
to just
though.
be legit and natural, and anything you've done to enhance your ability and give you an unfair advantage, falls under criticism.
And there
no
was
doubt.
some during that time that it'd be so hard to prove otherwise. So I mean, it's hard. It's kind of a sticky wicket, they call it. Who had that?
Yeah, I got the last one.
You got the last
2010 at the Kentucky Derby. Super Saver wins the 136th run for the Roses, giving trainer Todd Pletcher his first Derby victory.
First Derby victory, and I think he's on this thing I just read. He is. The one I mentioned, Renegade, the 5-1 odds, the trainer, Todd Pletcher.
Huh.
So still kicking along with it. Once you're in that sport, you're in it for life.
Yeah, it's only been 16 years. He might
That's true.
still be well within it. Yeah.
He's probably just a young buck, not like us old folks aren't, is he?
Those jockeys can ride way into their 60s, can't they? I mean, those jockeys can ride.
I don't know how old they
Shoemaker
are.
was doing it a long time.
Was
yeah.
he?
All right, so let's re-mention everything that you guys got going on tonight.
Yeah.
You're getting ready to leave here and get real busy quickly.
Yeah.
We've got a lot going on to prepare for the event. Tell us again where the event is. First of all, tell us exactly what it is, and then we'll get to where it's at.
Yeah, we set up this morning. This is the Coastal North Carolina FCA Outdoors Sportsman's Banquet. And this is a brand new lane of our ministry that we just hired a guy to, but he's only part-time. So tonight's all about casting the vision for this lane and appealing to people that would be able to help us get him full-time onto the team. And we set up this morning out at Triune Holiness Church in Maysville, where we're going to have the event tonight. And then we'll all meet back up here. This is kind of my interim break for lunch and whatnot. And then we'll pop back out there, do some sound checks and rehearsals, and start receiving VIP guests at 5. They'll get a chance to come in and meet Jimmy Sites, our guest speaker.
And let's give the correct spelling. I said it wrong earlier. It's Sites. If you want to look him up, Jimmy Sites.
Yep, Jimmy Sites, huge outdoor evangelist. So he has got some really cool stories to tell, and he loves the Lord. So it's going to be a great night to hear from him. And then Cole Singleton is our area rep for outdoors. You'll get a chance to hear from him and his heart for this ministry. But 5 to 6, we'll have the VIPs in, meeting Jimmy, getting an autograph book, getting their dinner started, and then doors will open for everybody else at 6 p.m. tonight. And they can come in. Everybody gets fed tonight. So the cool thing, too, is while you can jump online right now and get your tickets last second so we know who's coming, we want adults to go ahead and pay for their tickets.
Yeah.
But their kids can come for free.
Oh, awesome.
All we need them to do is just put their kids' names in the note box of the registration so that we know how many people are coming for seats and food and stuff like that. We can give Billy an adjustment for catering. But it's not too late to go and get your tickets. You got about one more hour here to knock that stuff out. So by lunchtime today, we're ready to go.
And give them the website to go to. Of course, it's your FCA website, coastalncfca.org.
You nailed it.
Is there any other place to go to for it, or does it all come off of that?
No, you can go to Facebook as well. We have an event section on Coastal NCFCA as a Facebook page, and you can get all the info there just like you can, which will take you to the website. But also on that event page in Facebook, there's a discussion thread on there that's got a lot of videos and updated information around all the things that are available tonight for those who attend. We got a ton of really cool raffle items, from a bear hunt to a fishing charter. We got rods and reels for raffle. We got guns for raffle.
What kind of guns? Do you know what? Which are the long guns, pistols?
They're both long guns.
Long guns,
I think one shotgun, one hunting rifle, if I remember right. But
okay.
the nomenclature, you have to go to that post. But we got a portable hunting blind in there. I mean, we got hats, we got swag, there's a whole bunch of stuff out there that you can get your hands on. It's gonna be a fun night for an outdoorsman.
It's gonna be nice. And it's a big weekend. You got that tonight. You got Kentucky Derby tomorrow. Some other things going on. Much needed rain coming in tomorrow. I know there's some Eastern North Carolina festivals going on. The Strawberry Festival in Wallace, things like that. But man, I know these, especially farmers, they'll trade a day of soaking rain for a festival.
A little bit of rain starting to come in tonight, right about the end of our
banquet. Had a little bit
banquet.
earlier today or yesterday, and off and on. But it's supposed to be really good tomorrow, and our farmers need it. Our grass needs it. Everything we need, runs off that water. We got to have.
It'll be neat to see the nature come alive a little bit this weekend.
It will.
It really responds to the water.
And also get your lawnmowers ready, because next week it's going to be gonna be rolling.
Yes.
Do want to mention the Emerald Isle Praise Fest. That's coming up in 2 weeks from tomorrow. There's something special happening there on the Crystal Coast. It's the Emerald Isle Praise Fest, Saturday, May 16th from 1 to 7 p.m. at the Watson Building, 9001 Reed Drive in Emerald Isle. And it's a powerful day of live Christian music, worship, and community by the sea, featuring Ben Fuller, Jason Crabb, Caleb and John, Rare of Breed, and Triune Band, which is the name of the church you guys are having your thing at.
Yep.
It even has Hollywood put on here how to pronounce it, so now I know Triune. So bring your family, enjoy the food, fellowship, and an unforgettable atmosphere, all while supporting local organizations making a difference right here in Carteret County. But don't wait, because tickets are going fast. It's 2 weeks from tomorrow, so it's approaching rapidly. Not as rapidly as your event tonight, but yeah,
we're on the clock.
You're on the clock. General admission is just $50, $60 at the gate. Kids 10 and under get in free, and you can lock in yours now at EmeraldIslePraiseFest.com. EmeraldIslePraiseFest.com. And it's the Emerald Isle Praise Fest, May 16th at the Watson Building there in Emerald Isle. That's Ronnie Watson, right?
Yep.
Yeah, Ronnie's big into that and a lot of the stuff that they do there. And this is a big offering for him. So come worship by the water there. Now, before we go, tell us anything else about FCA that you want folks to know going on right now.
Yeah,
I got to return a text. I'm going to let you have the floor.
Sure. Yeah, I think the most exciting thing for us right now is we're kind of in a problem-solving season to take a hard look at youth sports today, and not just North Carolina, but in the world, and really assessing and hearing from coaches, athletes, and parents as to what really the biggest 1, 2, or 3 problems are, and then we want to have a real effect on that, because at the end of the day, if you have coaches pointing the finger at parents and parents pointing the finger at coaches, kids are in the middle losing.
Oh, yeah.
They're losing their love for the game. There's confusion there when sin is involved in any of our lives. So we want to get in the game in a greater way. So we're in a season right now of kind of elevating our own investment into discipleship, but also we'll have some appeals coming at the end of this calendar year that will make our community more aware about how they can really get involved in ways we haven't done quite this way.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited about it. You know, like 10 years ago, the Lord kind of put it on my heart to approach coaches and athletes, the teams, about having FCA where they are to go with them on their schedule. And as teams did that, you know, we jumped from about 9 school huddles to 185 campus and team huddles around the area. And it's more than I could have kept up with, honestly. And so
we also got the big football camp coming up, right?
Yeah, that's eating up a lot of my time right now.
After you get through tonight, that's going to be your next.
It is the next thing.
Like, I'm going to take tonight, I'm going to take Saturday to breathe, and then come Monday.
It really is. I mean, we have 50 teams from all over the Carolinas, really. 1 South Carolina, all the rest are North Carolina.
Now, folks can't come watch that camp. They're like spectators?
Yeah.
Or is it not really more of a spectator
It's not really
thing?
open that way, simply because what we want is a distraction. It's a distraction-free environment.
Right.
And, you know, as much as parents want to come watch, girlfriends want to come watch, like, we realize that those things can become distractions. Yeah. You can get some quote-unquote fans out there that have something to say about the style of play and all sorts of things like that. It's 7-on-7. It's preseason. Everybody take a deep breath.
But that's the relationship you were talking about these like parents, coaches. Sometimes the egos and the pride come in where they're not getting the best. You know, they're not able to even hear the coach because of the chirping coming on from the stands. Sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, you get a lot of families just decide not to be a part of sport anymore. You got high character coaches deciding to quit and they just don't want to deal with it anymore. You got money involved now. You got all this transferring and just a whole lot of hidden agendas that really tarnish the good of sport. You know, we want to do all we can to help return people to that. And at the end of the day, if you focus on Christ and you follow Him, you'll bear much fruit. And that's the promise. And so we're in that season now of kind of wrapping up this school year and doing some hard looks at some things and putting the finishing touches on a new strategy as we go into next school year.
And as much as teachers hate to hear this, school year's wrapping up. And you got summer coming, but before you know it, it'll be fall again.
You know,
it's like that summer just blitzes by.
It does blitz by, and I think if you're a fall sports team, you're starting workouts and kind of right now. Really, right now.
A lot of them been going on all year.
Yeah, and then they'll take some breaks through some dead periods in the summer, and before you know it, in July, they're practicing again for their first games early August, a couple weeks before school even starts. It does go by really, really quick, and that's why we're not a campus ministry anymore. It's just kind of a big blur. It all blends together, and we're just nonstop. And
that's true.
And that's okay, though. It's okay.
I remember back in the day, we'd leave the backer patch in August 1st and go to this thing where we got a little break called football practice. So we didn't do it back then. We didn't do year-round because everybody worked during the summer.
That's
you
right.
had jobs. You were expected at an early age, especially living out in rural areas, you were expected at an early age to hit the backer fields or paint or whatever you did. Or
I'll tell you, Chris, I firmly believe that Tiger Woods changed sports forever. Yeah. The minute the greatest golfer, arguably of all time, had a club in his hand at 3 years old, every family, everybody's looking at like, we need to get him started earlier and often. to make
and
all
that
those
be
millions.
Their whole focus instead of like working jobs.
And so that's the pressure that everybody faces now is how great can my kid become? And LeBron James, NBA player, arguably the greatest. I know the debate, but it's here he is starting in the league.
We can have a discussion on both of those.
Yeah, Kobe Bryant, same thing, right? Jumping into the league when he's just a teenager, and every family thinks their kid is the next one, going to be the next one to do that, and that's a lot of pressure. We got a kid at Harold's Christian Academy right now who's a sophomore, being looked at by 16 Division I schools to come play basketball for them.
It's like the kid from Reedsville. You remember when East Duplin beat Reedsville for state championship?
Yep.
Reedsville had this kid at that time. I think he was a sophomore.
He was.
And man, he was already being offered by everybody in the country.
Yep.
Football and basketball. That's how talented he was.
And I saw that kid in the state championship game. I know you're talking about have some character flaws and some pressure moments he didn't handle well. Yeah. But no jab at him. But he's 15 years old with all this pressure to not just win a state championship, but also to perform in a way that has the scouts not regret their decision to recruit him, all that stuff. I can't relate to that kind of pressure.
They got in the whole NIL mess with him and the private school segment, and it really got out of whack. It's something that the love of sports is being totally taken away from a lot of these kids because it's becoming a business, and that's it. And it's so sad because a lot of kids just love to play these sports, and I really love to see the teams that are doing it just for the love of the game.
Yeah, and this is not a jab one way or the other about whether kids should be paid, name and likeness, all that. But what I am saying is that what Christ teaches is that money is the root of all evil. Yeah. And if we're not careful how we steward those financial opportunities, then they persuade and tempt and really change the character of people if we allow it. And that's kind of where we are. There's just no tether on it. There's no rules with it. And I don't know about you, but if somebody's trying to pay me $10, $15, $20 million at 16, 17, 18 years old, I'm for sure not making very smart decisions. And I'm not smart enough to do that.
Whether people like one sport or not more than the others, I don't think anyone will argue that the NFL is probably the most popular sport in America.
I agree.
And the reason that their product is what it is they make a kid wait 3 years out of high school before he comes there. He's not – first of all, it's a different sport. It's more physically demanding, obviously. Yeah. But there are kids that can make the jump right after high school. But by them doing that, they get a much more mature person. Nowadays, of course, the money's involved. It didn't used to be before they get there, but it's a different person at 20 or 21 years old than it is at 17 or 18. A different development level. So
it's interesting.
That's one of the reasons why the NFL is the top dog.
Yeah, and it's interesting. You have the greats in college sports right now, whether it was during the NCAA playoffs or the March Madness and all that, or even in the college football playoff. You have the Nick Saban types and you have the Coach K types in basketball. You have these guys taking the platform saying all the same things that and how it can be fixed. And so it's interesting to consider why that conversation seems to be ignored. And my only guess is there's a lot of money involved in all fronts for this stuff. And that's, again, something really that makes it really challenging.
And like you said, avarice is the root of all evil. Yep. And that's money, essentially. But when you got coaches like Tony Bennett at Virginia, Nick Saban stepping away from the game,
that's right.
Just because it's not the game anymore.
And it's not them. I mean, before football camp this year, 8 high-character head football coaches that had been coming to our camp for years all retired or resigned. Only one was doing it because his kids entered into a season of life where he just wanted to be more available for them to be at their games and stuff. All the rest of them admitted to me that.
And I know the one you're talking about.
I mean, they're just like, I've just had enough of this. I'm not. This isn't what I want to do anymore. And
we didn't want it to be a business when kids are supposed to be loving the game.
Yeah. If you think about where North Carolina is right now, our challenge by not paying teachers and by pushing away good coaches and by not taking care of these people that have such a massive responsibility to take care of kids, who's going to take care of the kids is somebody. And if we're not taking care of those people well, then you're going to get maybe a lesser than desirable.
A lesser qualified person.
Yeah, and then that has ripple effects that we're going to feel, not tomorrow, but we're going to feel it slowly but surely over time. And so, again, I hope that these voices will stay consistent and rational minds will prevail and we'll come up with some smart ways to do this right and preserve what's important. It's an important season of life.
Yep, I agree. Well, thank you so much for being with us today. Good luck on the banquet tonight. It's going to be
fun,
I know.
It's going to be great.
Last-minute tickets are still available, so make sure you hit the website one more time.
CoastalNCFCA.org. And just go to the Huddles tab, and then Outdoors is there. Yep.
All right, we want to thank our sponsors again before we leave. Thank you again, Ken Lovell, for being with us today. And our Sports Talk today is proudly brought to you by Golden Corral, Rock Creek Golf and Country Club, Superior Metal Structures and Concrete there in Beulahville, National Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram, Downey's Heating and Air Conditioning, CNS Paint, PRQ Exteriors, Fountain Management, Southern Touch Painting, All About Floors, Liberty Tire, Onslow County Motor Company, Bartley Insurance Services, Bill Mercer, Humphrey Heating and Air Conditioning, Jones Onslow EMC, Jones LP Gas there in Verona, and Lane & Associates Family Dentistry are our primary sponsors. Thank you so much. And then definitely want to thank Helen's Kitchen and Billy Grissett. He snuck in here like the biscuit ninja, we call him. We didn't even hardly hear him come in and leave, but he left us some BLTs and cheeseburgers for our early lunch today. So hopefully you enjoy it.
Love it.
And make sure you hit 97.1 or WSME971.com. Everything spiders off our webpage. And if you're on Facebook and YouTube, there's the QR code. Hit it up, and you can find all the information. And we will see you next week on Sports Talk. Thanks, dude.